it's Saturday. I just finished the last book I was reading, and I'm about to start my reading vlog for Middlegame, my second reread, as well as my first read of the new Over the Woodward Wall by Deborah Baker, the companion novel to Seanan McGuire's Middlegame. Hi, welcome to the future. This is Editing Josh. I realized I didn't do a very good intro for this vlog, and nowhere throughout it do I really give you a background of what Middlegame and Over the Woodward Wall is. I'll go ahead and say now, this is gonna spoil Middlegame. I've read it twice now, this is my third reread, and I decided to treat this vlog as a way to discuss Middlegame and how Over the Woodward Wall connects to it. I never once spoil new information that's within Over the Woodward Wall, the companion novel that's being released to Middlegame, but so much of what's in Over the Woodward Wall exists within the form of excerpts at the beginning of certain chapters within Middlegame, if you don't know. So I will talk about those excerpts as it relates to Middlegame. And generally speaking, pretty much all the major details in this book are in Middlegame. Now, Middlegame, if you don't know what it's about, is a sci-fi fantasy novel about these two twins who are created through this alchemical means for the purpose of basically controlling the world. This one man is out to try and harness this ultimate energy of the universe, this thing they call the, I don't know what it's called actually, I just allude to it as the impossible city. It's the impossible road to the impossible city. He's trying to reach the city so he can have this ability to control the world. If you have no interest in the book, please follow along. I think it's a fun ride. I had a thrill filming this. If you haven't read it but want to, you might want to hold off. If you have read it, then please jump in, because I love talking about the mythos of this book. There's so much here to love in the Middlegame as well as in this new book, Over the Woodward Wall. And I don't think it'll spoil the new book for you too much if you've already read Middlegame, because it's pretty much just the same book. It's just a different way of looking at the story. Right now I'm on my way to pick up my bike, so I'm gonna listen to Middlegame while I walk. I'll see you in a bit. If you saw my 4th of July reading vlog, you'll know my bike broke in early July. So what I'm doing now is I had to go pick it up from the shop after I took it to get fixed. Okay, I got my bike. I'm downtown at the park. I think I'm going to order a burrito and then go pick it up. And while I wait 20 minutes or so, I'm going to start reading Deborah Baker's Over the Woodward Wall. Even though I've already started Middlegame. I guess I'll read both at the same time. Okay, so I'm beginning to second guess this because I only have this weekend, like today and tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, to read these two books. And the audiobook for Middlegame, I still have 8 hours left on it. Like, that's at double speed. And I also need to get work done this weekend. And I'm not sure I could read through the e-arc of Over the Woodward Wall, at least not without listening to it. Because I was going to try and actually sit down and read it. I don't know if I have time for that. Like, that's going to take a long time. I think I might try, but even if I don't want to do that, like I don't have a Bluetooth headset to connect to my Kindle, and that's how I normally listen to get through my e-arcs faster. Don't know what I'm gonna do here. Another vlog that's gonna turn to shit. I did just watch a YouTube video instead of starting to read, so I'm actually gonna start now, and I guess, I don't know, we'll see what happens. I love this angle. Really beautiful tree behind me. If only my face wasn't just hanging down disgustingly.
I look at my face all the time. How different could it be leaning over? Oh my God! Oh my God, Dorothy, why didn't you tell me about this before?
Okay, I'm here in the park again, this time on a chair. I feel a little weird sitting on a park bench, but honestly, the cases are really low here in Ontario, and I'm not touching the bench itself with my hands. I'm gonna try and appreciate the weather while I eat and then do some more reading. You know, Canada's doing a lot better than America, but I must say, I don't think it's because of the people. I swear to God. Many people, like barely anyone's wearing masks. A lot of people aren't bothering to social distance. Like, I guess we're just lucky because I'm pretty sure the success of Canada is more to do with the government's actions than the people's actions, to be frank. poor children, you didn't know you were on a border, did you? And when you're on a border, if you step wrong, you can find yourself in the forest. Can we step back? Asked Zib. No, I'm afraid not. You're not on a border anymore, you see, you're someplace. The only way to get back to where you were is to find another border, one that crosses in the opposite direction. You said this was the forest of borders, said Avery. Shouldn't we be able to find a border here? Good gracious, no, said the owl. This isn't the forest of border crossings, or the forest of getting where you need to go. I love this book so much. I swear to God, Seanan McGuire, she is the embodiment of my spirit, if I had one. I swear to God, I love the absurdity of some of her worlds. It's so amazing. I adore this sort of nonsensical world building. It's the way I wish the real world was, and I say it as someone who is a scientist and works really hard to understand how the world works. So I love it when the world doesn't work. I'll get back later. I'm pretty sure it's an ambush. They're coming to attack. This road gleamed with iridescent rainbows, like every brick had been coated in a thin layer of mother of pearl. It was beautiful. It looked fragile and impractical and impossible. So I'm 40% through Over the Woodward Wall. I'm really enjoying it. It is so whimsical and really, it feels a lot like the Wayward Children series, but obviously more focused on this story. I really like that I've ended up reading both alongside each other. I am not sure if I'm going to keep doing that because this vlog might have to go on hold when the reading rush starts on Monday, but I really like following this story with this one because it's clear that she devised this story as a way to sort of mirror the story in Middlegame, and it's really prevalent here. There are a lot of comparisons to the characters and what's going on, and it's just so much fun to read. There are so many quotes that I just want to share with you, but I'm going to resist the urge. One, because of copyright issues, and two, because it just be a bunch of out of context quotes. But they're just so absurd, and it's exactly what I want in the world. Like, this world, it's terrible, but it's amazing, and it's everything I ever dream of. I was just reading a bit outside on my back porch this evening, or tonight I guess, it's nighttime, and it's a very peaceful, nice night for that. I get to just look at the stars while I read. Not, you know what I mean, I can, but it's like there's a background. I'm still getting very slowly through Over the Woodward Wall, which is why I'm not sure I'll be able to finish it, but I'm still enjoying the process. Honestly, I do such little actual reading with my eyes that I'm still pretty much just reading the entire book, like narrating it. Not even in my head, I'm literally trying to narrate it as if someone's listening while I read it, just because it seems easier for me to get into the story and picture what they're saying and what's being said, which makes for a very slow process. It's still fun. I really need to figure out, can you get in the swing of just reading without narrating it in my head or out loud, and I know it would go faster. It's just really hard for me not to, especially since it's hard for me to focus on the story if I'm not doing that. There's a reason I listen to audiobooks, but I need to do some cleaning that I meant to do earlier today, and ended up reading Over the Woodward Wall instead. So I'm going to do that and listen to Middlegame for a couple hours, maybe a few hours. We'll see how long it takes me. I need to do work tomorrow. I can't afford to spend all day reading. I could not do that, but I really need to focus on studying and get this thing I have to get done out of the way this weekend, because I have 1 week now until my comprehensive exams, and I gotta focus, because I really don't want to be spending 24 hours a day for the next 7 days on that, especially since I was planning on participating in the reading rush. Hell, I mean, if I feel too stressed, I may end up not even doing that, which would suck. It would really suck. So I'm getting on tangents. I'm going to do the thing I said I was going to do. So, since this is like my second reread, and this book's been out for a while, and the point of this vlog is to talk about the new Over the Woodward Wall book, I'm going to spoil Middlegame. So, you've been warned, moving forward, I might spoil Middlegame. I say that because there's a quote from the book that I want to talk about here. I'm talking about Lee, one of the creations of the alchemist. It says, Lee is aware of the contradiction inherent in her existence. She is a human being, a scientist. She remembers half a dozen PhD programs and another half a dozen disciplines on top of those. Her bones were stolen from the graves and deathbeds of 13 billion women. If those deathbeds were made by a long-dead alchemist rather than a natural selection, she has no sympathy for them. Without their deaths, her birth would have been impossible. She is a palimpsest girl, a denizen of the up and under, called into the light and brightness of the modern world. And if the woman who made her up didn't want to die, they should have been more careful. So this is the key word, a denizen of the up and under. I looked that word up because I didn't know what it was. It basically means an occupant. And I always took it to mean that Lee and James, is that his name, were almost like golems, just entirely created out of the material of the world, the magic or the alchemy or whatever. But this almost alludes to the fact that she is actually an entity of the up and under. And I don't know. I don't know if that's just in a figurative sense, or because they use that magic, or there's a literal pulling of something from there to our world, in the same way that these children in Over the Woodward Wall go from our world into theirs. There's a bit just after that, a little bit raised down. For her, life is the lab. The lab is life. The lab is where she awoke, confused, filled with the shrieking souls of countless dead. The wings of crows in her ribcage, prisoned in the fleshy confines of her heart. Sometimes she feels her feathers brushing up against her bones, which are a mixture of human caprine and whalebone scrimshaw, carved so beautifully that she sometimes thinks it's a pity she needs skin. So I'm going to try and avoid spoiling Over the Woodward Wall. That said, it's kind of outlined in this book anyways, but I do not remember whether or not there was a crow girl highlighted in any of the passages in this book, but there is a crow girl in this story. And I don't know if that's supposed to be an illusion. Is this the same person? Was Lee literally this person? Because he seems very different in the book. I don't know. I'm going to be following more closely because I don't really know the story of Over the Woodward Wall, even though I read this book twice now. Because I never really thought too much about the overarching story, other than the fact that it had a beginning, a middle, and an end in general terms. But it's really interesting thinking about Lee as a creation of the up and under and what that means. It's really cool. I'm really enjoying getting into the mythos of this. What you hear right now, by the way, is I'm cooking. I'm making some vegan cheese. I'll show you when I'm done. Don't know why I winked. It wasn't necessary. If you're curious, it's made up of potatoes, carrots, and sweet potatoes. The actual recipe doesn't call for sweet potatoes, but I thought once, hey, it'll make it oranger, also make it sweeter. I just want to clarify. I want to discuss the connections without revealing too much about the actual book. Because the fact that this is in this book suggests that it was already being hinted at. These crow feathers suggest something to do with crows and with her being from the up and under. So discussing this isn't necessarily revealing anything new from the book. If the book confirms the identity of Lee, I won't talk about that because I don't want to spoil that. This is more about appreciating the Over the Woodward Wall and using that to better appreciate Middlegame and the aspects over the Woodward Wall that are already included with the Middlegame. They were spoiling Middlegame. Some of you have all read it or have no interest in reading it, while not spoiling as much as possible exactly what's going on in the actual book of the Woodward Wall. Okay, I finished cleaning a lot of dishes. That said, I still have a lot more, but I'm exhausted and I don't want to clean anymore. But I think I might go outside and try and read until I start to get kind of dozy. It's 2 a.m. right now, but I left Over the Woodward Wall in the middle of a chapter, just at the beginning of a chapter. I'm so tired. Maybe I shouldn't bother trying, but I'm going to. Okay, it's Sunday afternoon. I'm about halfway through both books. Still really enjoying it. I am pretty sure I probably won't finish this series, the books today. I'll probably have to put this on hold until next weekend after the reading rush. But I'm going to try. It's not impossible yet. My Kindle says I have about 2 hours left on reading the actual Over the Woodward Wall. which isn't impossible. Right now, as far as like how Over the Woodward Wall is being told in Middlegame, I'm still ahead, well ahead of where we are in Over the Woodward Wall as it appears in Middlegame, if that makes sense, which I like doing it this way. I think I've already talked about how I was debating on how to read these two. I really like how I'm reading alongside one another. You know what I mean. I think it works really well to like sort of get the story of Over the Woodward Wall and then start seeing it appear into this. If you want to do one or the other, don't want to do both. I think based off of this, I would say read Over the Woodward Wall first, especially if you've already read Middlegame, and then read Middlegame, and I think you're more likely to be able to piece that together. But you can do both. Like, why not do that? We've gotten to the point where the Crow Girl is introduced. I'm beginning to think every chapter is like an excerpt from the book. I don't remember though. The Crow Girl I talked about before. I didn't spoil anything new in Over the Woodward Wall. It's entirely in this book. It seems really interesting to think, is the Up and Under a literal place, or is it a figurative place? Almost like a spiritual plane, in which case is Lee a figurative creature of the Up and Under, or the literal manifestation of something there, in which case is it the Crow Girl? I have a new question now. Is Reed the big bad? Is he the King of Cups? Because that's definitely alluded to. Here we have a quote from Aaron. You need to say the following. Take us back to the last fixed point. Tell her it's an order. Tell her it's an adjuration. Tell her it's a command. Do it fast, Jackdaw. Actually, that wasn't the point. It was after that it happened. After this happens, Dodger reaches out to Aaron to understand what happened because he remembers something happened connected with her. And so she begins alluding to things in the Over the Woodward Wall, basically these concepts that we see in Middlegame. After she explains that there are people interested in him, interested in his supposed sister, he asks, who's interested in us? To which she says, the guards at the impossible city, the page of frozen waters, but the King of Cups most of all. You could be what he's looking for his entire life, and he's not the sort of man you want paying attention to you. So yet again, we have this figure who is clearly Reed, the one who has been trying to create these two entities to control the universe. Reed is being alluded to as the King of Cups. Is he, like Lee, is he a little manifestation of something from this other world? Or is he instead just representative of the type of figure that would exist there? It again goes back to whether or not this series, Over the Woodward Wall, is a literal story of her experiences, Deborah Baker, the creator of Reed, or if it is rather a way of communicating the logic or the doctrine, I guess the doctrine of ethos, which is to say, the rules of our universe in this fantastical tale. I don't know. If it is the former, which is to say, a literal thing, then that would suggest that Reed is the King of Cups. I don't remember how much has been alluded to in this book about the King of Cups, among other things, but he's definitely a figure, obviously, in the book. So that's just another interesting thing to think about, like, is Reed himself, literally from Up and Under. This is now two of the big bad characters who have been identified as of the Up and Under, and I'm still really curious to figure out what exactly that means. Will I get the answers? There's no way to tell, not without continuing to watch. I have about an hour and a half left on Over the Woodward Wall. It's 9 o'clock now, and I'm thinking maybe I should try and finish this tonight. I'm pretty sure I can get through this if I can stay focused. It'll be 10:30 before I'm done, but I can do it. The audiobook, I have a little bit less than 4 hours, so it may be 3 a.m. before I go to bed. Or hell, maybe I'll just finish the audiobook during the reading rush. As long as I get to this, it's really the main reason for this vlog, right? I took a 2-hour nap earlier too, so I don't think I'm going to bed anytime soon. It also meant I haven't really gotten much work done today. I've done a little bit, but I think what I'll end up doing is just doing it tomorrow, spending less time studying. But you know what, that's grad life, for me at least. There are better students than me, and we'll see whether or not it makes a difference in a week's time. But for now, I'm going to read. But this is my recent go-to place to read. Even when I'm listening to an audiobook, I really enjoy just sitting here and looking at the stars, because it's really quite beautiful. You have the trees, but still a beautiful view. I say as I talk to myself, if there's anybody watching right now, I look weird as fuck. But I'm gonna try not to care about that. I've been in quarantine for months now. Barely ever see anyone. This is my way of socializing with the world. That smoothie you saw me make earlier, I still have it left over. Some people are surprisingly good at lying to themselves. Ain't that the truth? So I finished Over the Woodward Wall by Deborah Baker. It's like 11:40. It's almost 12 a.m. Almost time for the reading rush. I'm still going to try and finish Middlegame. I will get through most of it tonight. I may end up listening to it more tomorrow morning and just hope I still have time to do the reading rush. I may or may not close out this vlog tonight just because I read Middlegame before. You can hear my thoughts about that at the stay-at-home reading rush, I think it was actually. I really liked Over the Woodward Wall. It was a solid 5 stars until the ending. If you don't know, this is the first in a series, and this isn't like the Wayward Children series where every story is concise. The story is clearly continuing on. It's more like Lord of the Rings in that we just stop at some point in the story and look forward to the rest. Now, of course, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. A series can be that kind of story as long as each book is a concise narrative. And I think in a lot of ways, Over the Woodward Wall is. We get introduced to these two characters, we learn about them, and we see them evolve over the course of this journey. And we see them reach this goal, and then seemingly the goal changes. I guess I didn't appreciate when that changed, how significant a change it was, because clearly the fact that there's a whole other book coming, probably a whole series, I don't know, depends if we keep buying them, which I know I will no matter what. I mean, I kept watching Game of Thrones even though it was shit. It tells us that there's probably going to be more stories to come, and my point is that I guess it's going to be a different kind of story. I didn't expect that the twist to be like a book length worth of story, but I guess it is. Still, the shift, I don't know, it felt abrupt and it didn't feel entirely natural. So I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. So really glad that I read it. I'm really glad that I finished it now. I mean, the fact that I felt the urge to finish it before the reading rush tells you that I was really liking it, because I did not like the idea of waiting a whole week to finish it. As far as its ties to Middlegame, I am still really glad that I read it first, or at least that I read it alongside it and eventually finished it before the actual Middlegame book, because I think as I'm listening to Middlegame and as I hear these segments, first off, it's fun hearing them read out loud after having read them, but I guess it sticks out more. I recognize what's going on, I understand the context, and because of that, I can then ask myself in the moment, how does this tie to the bigger story? And I think, in a way, like, it would have been better if we had the story before Middlegame. Maybe we wouldn't have been as interested in it. But if you read Middlegame and you're rereading it, I definitely recommend reading it after reading Over the Woodward Wall, because I think it's a different experience to be able to consume those narratives, the segments of the narrative from this. Now, what I'm going to be paying close attention to is whether or not the segments we get in this book are all from the story or not. Because I thought there was a character we didn't meet that I thought we met in the book, but I might be confusing her with a different character. If I had to tell you whether or not I think the characters in Middlegame are literal representations of the people in Over the Woodward Wall and Up and Under, right now I'm settling on no. I don't think so. I think it's more of a figurative manifestation rather than a literal manifestation. But I could be wrong, and I'm interested to find out. I still really like the story. I've seen a lot of people mark this as middle grade, and granted, I don't read a lot of middle grade, so I don't really know. But when I look on Amazon and all other stores, they list it as a regular dark fantasy book. They don't list it as middle grade or young adult. I think it's wrong to assume this is a middle grade book, because I don't think that's necessarily the target of the way she's writing it. I think it's intentionally meant to be kind of dark in a way that is not as overt. It's not like she's cursing every which way or making us watch people get utterly tortured. I think the ideas are very mature in a way that is not meant to be for kids, but I could be wrong. I don't think it's middle grade. Take the other grain of salt. Do I really know what I'm talking about? Probably not. Just another guy who thinks he knows everything. So forgive me for mansplaining middle grade to you. God. Okay, let's just move forward. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I definitely think it has changed how I'm going to read Middlegame moving forward, because it gives me a much deeper appreciation for these reference texts that she references so often in Middlegame in a way that just really redefines the story. It's like an entirely new book when I'm able to read it, not just for those segments. When we talk about the Impossible City, we talk about the Up and Under, we talk about the Improbable Road, all of this terminology, it means something different to me now in this book than it did the other 2 times, because I was able to read it. So yeah, a great experience. I'm going to do some cleaning, and I'll probably give you an update before I close out. And hopefully I'll finish this tonight, if not tomorrow morning. And hopefully you'll see this before this shit gets published, because right now I have a lot of vlogs that I have yet to edit and publish. Like, I'm much more of a recorder than an actual editor. I kind of like this position. Like, you can see the bookshelves, and it's more comfortable because I'm on my couch. We'll see how I feel about it. But there's been a new turn of events. If you read the book, you should know this already. But after the twins try and get their DNA tested, they trigger the earthquake, and they have to separate. In the aftermath, we have Lee giving an update to Reed on what happened. And basically, there's this bit that sort of feeds into this idea of what exactly is the up and under. His investors wouldn't have liked the delay, but his investors are gone. Dust and bones scattered over a dozen states. It's better that way. Boring, balding, high-bound old men don't deserve to change the universe. They should have grown up powerless and incomplete, unable to function in the big, terrifying world of people born in the normal way, rather than created as metaphors given flesh. Rather than being created as metaphors given flesh. And obviously she's referring to herself and to Reed. So that seems to confirm that they are in fact just a metaphor. Like the up and under, the Over the Woodward Wall narrative is only a metaphor. And they are a manifestation, a figurative manifestation of that metaphor. Maybe you caught that already if you read this before. I read it twice and I haven't. And then again, I haven't stopped to think about it. And that's the whole point of this vlog. So, good morning. I decided to go for a bike ride this morning to finish off the vlog. I still have about 30 minutes left. That's about how much bike I have left. So hope you enjoy this last snippet of nature. I actually haven't been out biking on the bike path in the daytime in quite a while, but I guess it's finally at the point where cases in Ontario are at a point where I'm a little bit comfortable enough to risk being socially distanced outside, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I'm enjoying the book, obviously. I will say that there's a point in the book where they say that, I feel like there's people coming, that Dodger is the embodiment of the Crow Girl, which means that it definitely isn't Lee. So, I should have known this since I've read it twice, but I'm terrible with details if I don't know what to pay attention to. But you know what, I'm learning now, so fun fact, I'm gonna go because there are people coming. Okay, so we're at the point where Dodger throws the liquid on Lee that melts her, basically missing all the alchemical symbols on it that basically indicate it's going to kill someone, melt someone, and how there's this history of young girls throwing liquid on witches. And what is an alchemist or a witch? All the Zibs who never quite made it this far, or something like that, and it's that one bit, the Zib never quite made it this far. There's someone coming, she's going to hear the radio because they have it playing for some reason. But all the Zibs who never quite made it this far, which suggests the Zib is never going to make it. I don't know how long this series is supposed to be. Like, I know it's more than one further than the first book, which I guess is why this one, Over the Woodward Wall, doesn't end the whole entire story. I don't know why I thought it would. But that one line, how Zib never made it quite this far, suggests that Zib is always going to be trying to defeat the Wicked Witch, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know the allegory that is going on in this book, but you get the gist, right? So maybe that's obvious. Maybe I'm just telling you what you already knew if you read the book. Or maybe you're like me and you didn't think too much about it. At least not the first 2 times. But okay, I'm gonna keep going. You may not see me again. There may be a point to it. Plus, it's technically the reading rush, and I need to start recording for that too. So, peace out. Thanks for watching, even though I still have like 15 minutes left, but who cares? I'm gonna love it no matter what. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a fun vlog. It's kind of stressful, even if it didn't show in the video. A lot going on right now, but this was a very relaxing vlog. I'm glad I finished both these books. Makes me very happy. Love Seanan McGuire, love Middlegame, love Over the Woodward Wall. I'm rambling again. I hate goodbyes. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.